Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name's Benson. What's yours? I'm here today to talk to you about the weather. I see all these questions about I'm coming during this time and this time to Florida to visit Disney World. What's the weather like? Well, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to break it down for you right now, month over month, day over day. Probably not day over day, definitely month over month. Maybe we'll categorize the months. And we're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about all things weather and all the things you need to know about the weather is beautiful but will kill you quick Florida. That's what we're going to change it to instead of the Sunshine State, because it's a little more accurate. Florida ain't no chump, and if you turn your back on its weather, it will mess you up like a white rapper in Malibu. The video is going to have facts, hard, solid facts about the weather in Florida. It's going to have graphs. 1 second. Hello? What do you mean no graphs? I said graphs. What do you mean I didn't read the Photoshop book on how to do graphs? I'm not making faces. Just do the graph. I didn't roll my eyes. Just do the graphs. Listen here, future me. Do the graphs. They're not that hard. No, seriously. Google it. YouTube it. Come on. Fine, whatever. Okay. We're not going to have graphs. Because apparently future me is a great big giant... Okay, according to future me, there will be no graphs because I forgot to read the Photoshop book on how to create cool graphs. Anyway, so we're going to start with the month of May. Why are we starting with the month of May, you may ask? Because the majority of you are going to visit in the months from May through, say, December. So we're going to categorize this and we're going to run and talk about the weather in the month of May through, say... October, because usually the arc of the heat starts during that time. For us, May through October, it's just one season. We have 2 seasons really. May through October, November through April. It's just the way it is. So late April is when it actually starts to get hot, but April's wishy-washy, and we'll get to that in a minute. If you're coming May through October, do not waste valuable luggage space on a pair of pants. You are not gonna need them. Unless you plan on taking a hiking trip into the woods, there's really no need to bring pants. If you're gonna hike in the woods, bring pants, because we have ticks, and ticks suck. So, some of the things you do need to pack. Comfortable, breathable, walking shoes, tennis shoes, whatever. Make sure they are worn in a little bit before you bring them down here and get blisters all over your feet. Second, a really good pair of flip-flops. And the only reason I say a really good pair of flip-flops is if you decide to go to a water park, you better have something on your feet. Because that sun takes that concrete and it takes that concrete to 1,000,000 degrees and it will burn your feet off. Like, you just see these people that forget their flip-flops and they kind of like, this is the concrete and this is them, and they're like, trying to get from one water safety net to another. The concrete's no joke. Bring flip-flops. Some people wear flip-flops to the park. That's on you. I need a pair of shorts. Lots of pairs of shorts, I guess, because you're going to go multiple days. You want a light, breathable fabric on your shorts. Don't wear jean shorts. They're gonna rub. T-shirts, tank tops, t-shirts, no dark colors. It literally draws the sun. A dark t-shirt is kind of like, hey son, bake me while I'm here, like a potato. It's just the way it is. Bright colors kind of help it bounce. Trust me, it alleviates the heat. Don't play with this. And underwear. Listen, May through October is no joke. Do not go commando May through October. You're gonna chafe in places you didn't think you could chafe. Wear your undergarments. Bring them, pack plenty, because you're going to need to change them every day. Probably at least 3 times a day. That's how much you're going to sweat May through October. It's just no time to go commando. What you're really going to need is some SPF 9001 sunscreen. It must be over 9,000. Now, while you're here from May through October, you're going to need to shower every day. Basically, like changing your underwear, you're going to need to probably bathe more than once a day. Just because you're going to sweat that much. And do us a favor, wash every crook and cranny. Don't just wash like your kneecaps or wherever you think you're sweat. Wash it all, people, head to toe. Wash your children too. Keeps them from getting all scaly and weird feeling because the sun and the sweat and the salt is just grinding your flesh together. I also recommend a loofah on a stick because you're going to need to be able to reach cracks and crevices that you didn't know could get sweaty. And if you don't have a loofah on a stick, we got you covered in Florida. We got loofahs on a stick in the freaking backyard. I'll get you one if you need one. I'll sell it to you for 50 cents. It gets in those places, you a little soap on it, it scrubs it right away. Trust me, bring your loofah on a stick. Do us a favor, wash your butt crack, people. It's gonna get sweaty and stinky. All right, so as far as the actual heat and stuff goes, like I said, May is when our first season really starts, our main season. May is going to start out in the mornings in the low 70s, and it's going to rocket into the low to mid 80s in the day. You're literally going to get up in the morning and it's going to be hot outside. So you're going to open your hotel door that's full of this beautiful, amazing air-conditioned air that you've just been bathing in, and you're instantly going to be moist from head to toe because the humidity is going to surround you like a loving blanket and choke the life out of you. That's how wet you're gonna get. If you really wanna understand what it's like, go turn your heat up in your house to 90. Leave it on for about an hour. Get in a really hot shower. Get out of the really hot shower and instantly put your clothes on. Don't get a towel, don't dry off. Just put on your clothes, preferably the lightest fabric you got so it can really wick in that moisture and then cling to you. Because that's exactly what it's going to be like walking around Florida May through October. I'm even lying to you there. That's May through December. The humidity here is massive. It's going to make that heat be at least 10 times worse. So that's the first thing you get to look forward to from May through December. Walking out your door is hitting that wall of humidity and taking all your nice clean clothes and instantly adhering them to your body. We're gonna get so moist from the humidity, you're gonna hear suction sounds when you pull your clothes away from you. Keep in mind that May through October, it doesn't cool down at night. It literally stays hot all night long, all day long, from May through October. It doesn't change. It's like taking a cast iron skillet in a 500-degree oven and pulling it out and setting on your stovetop. The heat lingers, people. It will cook you all 24 hours. There's no relief from the heat. I'm gonna give you temperatures, 70s, 80s, 90s. Add 10 degrees to all of those, sometimes 15, because the weatherman's gonna be nice. He's like, oh, it's a beautiful 80 degrees out today. And then he's gonna tell you, but it feels like 95. So even though the weatherman says 80 degrees, and some of y'all are like, oh, I got 80 degrees here, no big deal. That's a dry 80 degrees. When you get in this humidity, that feels like you choking to death. It's just the way it is. 80 degrees is really 90 or 95 here. I want you to think of May as if you got your oven on 350 degrees. This is what it feels like all year long. Open that oven at 350 degrees and poke your head inside a little bit. Hang there for a few minutes. That's the heat in early May. It stays like that all day, all May. Like I said, May's gonna be in the high 70s to low 80s. June's gonna work from the low 80s into the high 80s. It's like taking a walk through Death Valley, except it's like wearing your own personal water sweater the entire freaking time. July, it's gonna crank it on up into the high 90s. And the reason being is because we need to know as a Floridian that you can understand what it's like to walk on the surface of the sun. That's what it feels like. When they say 90 degrees, they don't mean 90 degrees, they mean the sun. It's right here. There's no outer space distance between Florida and the sun. Yeah, you go to Georgia and you gotta take a rocket ship to get to the sun. You go to South Central Florida, you're there. Trust me. There's no rocket ship needed. It's right there. The cool thing about August is it's just like July. The heat is really set in August. And it's basically like walking on that sun while wrapping your entire body in aluminum foil. It doesn't get any cooler. It doesn't get any better through August. It's even better when September rolls around because it's just like August. The heat's been here at least 2 months. Really solid in those high 90s. Every now and then in September you'll dip down into those 80s. But it's still gonna be hot. In July through September, you're in the kind of mid 80s to mid 90 range, feeling like 100 degrees out there. You're sweating from every orifice. It literally just feels like you're walking through a swampy lake. But in September, towards the end, it starts to teeter down. You get less of the 90s, more of the 80s and the 70s. October kind of mellows out like June and May, where you're in your mid 70s to mid 80s range. But here's the problem with September and October. Mother Nature hates you. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna give you one random cold day, and you're gonna get up one morning, it's gonna be like 62 degrees outside, and you're gonna be like, this is beautiful, it's probably gonna be like this for the rest of the week, this is glorious, and then Mother Nature says, gotcha, sucker. It is not gonna be like that, because tomorrow it's gonna be 100. It's just this little bit of like hope that Mother Nature gives you, and then she slaps you right in the face the next day. Now, we've made it through October. We're gonna move into our second season, and we're gonna call that light summer. And that runs from November through February. Those months are very fickle months. Sometimes those months are just like June or July, or I've even seen a December be just like August and melt your brain on Christmas Day. I've seen a Christmas Day where we got up and went to the beach for the day and it was still warm enough to swim. November through February, fickle, very fickle. Be very careful. The problem with that is November through February, you're gonna need to pack a pair of jeans. Just one, maybe two. No more than two, trust me, you're not gonna need them. In November through February, you bring a jacket. I'll explain to you why in just a minute. Nighttime in November through February does get cooler than it is during the day. Sometimes in November, December, January, February, you'll see the nights get as low as 50, maybe 40 degrees. And every now and then at random times, it will be like that even later in the evening. I've seen some November, December days be 75, 80 degrees from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then as soon as 6 p.m. hits, it drops into the 40s like nobody's business. That's why I tell you to bring a jacket, and that's why I tell you to bring pants from November through February. Just one or two pair, you're not going to get a lot of use out of them, except during those times. Now, you northerners are thinking 40 degrees, that's like swimming weather up here. No. You don't really understand what it's like to go through 80-degree weather for 8 to 10 hours and then 40-degree weather instantly. I don't mean from like 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. it gradually gets cooler and you're like, oh, it's feeling nice. I mean the sun goes down and Jack Frost jumps on you like a horny teenager at prom and it's all over. You are freezing. You want to test this theory out? Go buy yourself a deep freezer. Plug it in. Crank it to the lowest setting it has. Then turn your heat up to 90. Walk around for about 10 hours. Go sit in your deep freezer. Bring a friend in case the lid closes, they can get you out. Enjoy that for about 2 or 3 hours and you'll understand what it's like to go from scalding hot to instantly cold outside. Your body doesn't understand it and it will freak out. Guess what's still happening? Even though you've lost all that 90-degree weather, that 80-degree weather, and it's in the 40s, it's still wet and humid outside. So now you've got all these clothes that are sticking to you like a clingy prom date, and you don't know what to do, and now you're in 40-degree weather, hoping you don't die. Every now and then, in January and February, the heat goes poof and it disappears for like 2 or 3 days on end. And we see temperatures like the 20s and the 30s. It gets colder than a Yeti's little toe. It goes insane. Florida loses its mind and tries to do the exact opposite. It's like, oh crap, I forgot winter, and it shoves it into 2 to 3 days. A week if we're lucky. It gets so cold here, it's ridiculous. Our safe months, sort of, are March and April. March really kind of mellows out. We see temperatures in the normal range. We'll say we'll start the mornings in the 50s and the 60s. Get any higher till like the high 70s sometimes. March has got these really great breezes that kind of pop up here and there. And it's a really enjoyable month to be in Florida. April is a little fickle because sometimes it's like March, sometimes it's like May. It never really knows what it wants to do. Here lately this year, April's been a lot like March. We've seen the 50s through the 60s and 70s. We've got a few high 80 days, but it's been real windy and nice throughout that entire time too, so it's not as bad. The humidity also from, we'll say January to early April kind of slacks off a little bit, so you're not feeling that moisture as much. And the reason I say humidity so much is that humidity sometimes with the high heats in the summer, it's just hard to breathe in because the air is so thick and wet, it's heavy on your lungs. So that's just something to think about. What about the rain. This is Florida. It's going to rain. But let's break it down for you. October through April, it's kind of random. Late April, we see a little bit more rain than we see any time from October to March. Usually during those time frames, we might get 1 or 2 days worth of rain, but usually it's nothing big. It's not a lot of rain, or if it is, we'll get like a real heavy shower. Like tomorrow is the 20th of April, and we're gonna see real bad rain, but not till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's only supposed to be here for like 4 hours. That's random on October through March and April. Now, when May kicks in and the heat really builds up, you're gonna see rain every day, usually about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I don't mean you're gonna get a light sprinkle. I mean somebody gave the elephant too much water, you picked a bad spot to sit your chair in, and the Niagara Falls of rainfall is coming at you. So, one of really the last things to talk to you about is hurricane season. Yes, it's a season. It runs from June through November. That doesn't mean you can be here in February and there's never going to be a hurricane. It's just very unlikely. Temperatures, water movements, Maui, Tahiti, they just decide beginning of November through end of May, no big hurricanes. And we're cool with that. Now, most of the time we see a lot of our hurricane activity in September, maybe October, sometimes August. Usually June through July, we'll see hurricanes pop up, but they never get close to land. They disintegrate out there in the ocean. They hit the wrong current. They hit the wrong path, and it just goes to heck in a high water boot. You know what I'm saying? There will be a hurricane scare in September. Don't freak out. You're gonna freak out. I don't even know why I said don't freak out. Grocery stores during hurricane season run out of these things: bread, milk, peanut butter, and alcohol. Nobody buys anything else. If you want to stay safe during a hurricane, find you a non-meth addicted local, stick with them, you'll survive. Trust me, it's literally like a day-to-day thing for us. Hurricanes don't bother us. Half of them don't even evacuate. Not saying that's a smart decision, because I've seen a hurricane, you know what I'm saying? What to expect if you're caught in Florida in a hurricane. You remember that rain I told you about that happens during the normal rainy days? Well, hurricane rain is like somebody took a whole herd of elephants, fed them too much water, and shoved you under them. It's like the Hoover Dam broke and the rainfall is coming at you Hoover Dam style. There's gonna be wind whipping, people crying. Like I said, find you a local who isn't addicted to meth. There's some of us. You'll find us. You'll know. We won't be trying to eat you during the hurricane. That's how you can spot a Floridian who's not on drugs. If you find us, we'll help you survive the hurricane. Trust me, we like tourists. You keep the money coming in. Heck, you probably pay half of Florida's salary. That's it. That's the weather in Florida. That's what it's like. I know some of this is a joke. I know I'm trying to come off being funny about it. But in all honesty, the temperatures and the rainfall and things like that, that's all sincerity. That's just what it's like in Florida. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it doesn't. You know, we live here because we like it. We can wear shorts 350 days a year. And we can wear flip-flops 365 days a year, 366 on a leap year. Or maybe we believe we should be punished for some transgression that we refuse to talk about because it could possibly incriminate us on a murder in California. You know, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you get something from this. Like I said, I know it was me goofing around, but the weather is serious, the time frames are serious, and I hope you enjoyed this. It was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. I love you guys. Till tomorrow. Don't forget your loofahs on a stick or you're gonna use one of these.